So I'm here to continue the report of Mr. Gumama. So may nakapagsabi or sabi-sabi na bago pa man umalis si Josephine at si Taufor sa Manila, eh, engage or nag-propose na si Rizal kay Josephine para sa kanilang kasal. So ang padre na nasa dapitan, which is si Antonio Batch, however, wanted Rizal's retraction of his anti-clerical views as a prerequisite and would only grant the church ceremony if Rizal could get permission from the Bishop of Cebu. So, pagdating ni Josephine sa dapitan, the church wedding she hoped for, hindi nangyari or hindi natuloy yung kasal. So, Rizal would not retract, and so Batch denied them the permission to marry. And the Bishop of Cebu confirmed the priest's decision. So, sa payag naman ni Josephine, Rizal nonetheless took her as his wife. So, tinuring pa rin siya ni Rizal na kanyang asawa kahit hindi sila kasal sa isang Katoliko or like Catholic, o walang blessing ng pare sa isang Katoliko. So the couple married themselves before the eyes of the God by holding hands in the presence of two witnesses. So aware sa mga pangyayari, Doña Teodora told her excommunicated son that loving each other in God's grace was better than being married in a mortal sin. So mas mainam na daw yung nagmamahalan kayo kaysa kinasal kayo pero like, babag sa kalooban mo. So Josephine as Rizal's wife. So depending on the reference one is using, so si Rizal at si Josephine masayang ninirahan sa kanilang casa quadrada or octagonal bamboo house. So in his letter to his family, Rizal related that Josephine turned the house into a love nest, stocking the pantry with preserves and pickles. To prove the depiction, the letters were accompanied by packages of food prepared by the woman who lives in my house. So Josephine kept the house looked good and took good care of Jose Rizal, or Joe, her nickname for which is Jose Rizal. She cooked, washed, sewed, and fed the chickens. So mga gawaing bahay ginagawa ni Josephine para kay Joe or kay Rizal. So to his mother, Rizal described Josephine as good, obedient, submissive. We still have our first quarrel, and when I reprove her, she does not talk back. So Rizal's son naman tayo. So before the year ended in 1895, the couple had a child who was born prematurely. So Rizal's sisters say the boy was named Peter. Others say he was named Francisco, after Don Francisco Mercado. Pero unfortunately, yung anak nila is namatay a few hours after birth. So Rizal was said to have made a pencil sketch. So ginawa niya ng drawing yung sanggol sa on the jacket of a medical book. So he didn't bury the baby in an unmarked grave in a secluded part of Talisay. So Filipino historian Gregorio Zaide narrated that Rizal played a prank on Josephine which frightened her so that she ultimately gave birth to an 8-month baby. But doubting the veracity of this tale, some intriguingly ask questions like, was the miscarriage due to fault and snare? So, ano nga ba yung dahilan ng pagkalaglag or like, bakit nagkaganon yung anak ni Rizal? So, madaming tanong yung mga tao noon. So, or like, tinulak ba niyo si Rizal si Josephine sa yung time na nag-aawa sila or ganun ba yun? Or did they quarrel intensely at all? So some sources declare that the two had quarrels, one of which, according to 1968 articles in the Free Pass, was violent, so maharas, leading to her miscarriage. Assumptions. So leaving the Pitan. So on July 30, 1886, nakatanggap ng letter from the Gobernador General sanctioning his high petition to serve as a volunteer physician in Cuba. So in the late afternoon of July 31, Rizal and Josephine got on España along with Narcisa, a niece, 3 nephews, and 3 of his students. So while Rizal was being kept under arrest aboard the cruiser Castillo da Cavite, Josephine stayed in Narcisa's home in Manila. While waiting for Jose's fate, she filled her time with tutoring in English and taking piano lessons from her 15 pupils. So nung time si Rizal was nung December 26, 1896, Josephine was aided to be among the spectators inside the military building Cuartel de España, along with some newspapermen and many Spaniards. So at about mga 6 p.m. on the day before Rizal's execution, Josephine Bracken arrived in Fort Santiago. Rizal called for her and they emotionally talked to each other. So maraming nagsasabi na Josephine was, pinagbabawalan siyang makita yung asawa niya. So sa yung mismong paghatol ng bitay or execution. So the historian Gregorio Zadi wrote that at 5:30 a.m. she and Josefa came. The couple was said to have embraced for the last time, and Rizal gave to Josephine the book The Imitation of Christ, on which he lovingly wrote, "To my dear and happy wife." So, Josephine inspiration niya yan. So there's an allegation that either the evening before or in the early morning of Rizal's day of execution, the couple was married in a ceremony officiated by the priest Vicente Belanguer. So, kinasal sila officiated by the priest Vicente Belanguer. Nonetheless, the members of Rizal family themselves seriously doubt the claim, as no records were found as regards of the wedding. So, may duda sila kasi walang mga papelas, walang record. O baka sabi-sabi lang. So, joining the Katipunan. So, 3 days after Rizal's martyrdom, Josephine hurriedly joined the Katipunan's forces in Cavite as Rizal's widow. She could have easily penetrated the revolutionary group, but it was said that General Emilio Aganeldo was reluctantly persuaded to admit Josephine into the military ranks, providing her with lessons in shooting and horseback riding. Aside from serving as an inspiration to the Katipuneros, she assisted in operating the reloading of jigs for Mosir cartridges at the Mole's arsenal under Revolutionary General Pantaleon Garcia. She also helped in taking care of the sick and wounded. So Bracken made her way through bushes and mud to the forces in Maragalan, where she witnessed the Tijeras Convention on March 22, 1897. So while in Bay, Josephine was summoned by the Spanish Governor General Camilo Polavieja. She was given the options of leaving the country or be subjected to torture and imprisonment. Owing, however, to Mr. Toffer's American citizenship, she couldn't be compulsorily banished, though Josephine eventually left for Hong Kong in May 1897 upon the advice of the American consul in Manila. So, pangalawang asawa ni Josephine Bracken. So, upon returning to Hong Kong, Josephine went back to Toffer's home. She petitioned for her share for Rizal's library in Hong Kong, which was under the guardsmanship of Jose Maria Basa. Though sympathetic to her, Basa could not grant her request because the Rizals, especially Doña Teodora, were Testing the petition, and Josephine had no proof that she was legally married to Jose Rizal. So after her foster father's death, she married the Philippine-born mestizo Vicente Abad Ricio from Cebu. Some sources introduce Bracken's second husband as the son of a Hong Kong Tabacalera company owner, whereas others present him as one of the employees of Tabacalera. So ayun na nga, nagkaibigan ang dalawa. Tapos after sa maikling panliligaw ay ikinasal ito noong Disyembre 15 na 1898. So may mga sabi-sabi na ang mag-asawa ay bumalik sa Pilipinas noong Mayo 1899, while others say that the family returned to Manila a year after the couple's child was born. Josephine gave birth to the daughter Dolores. So, tutoring Sergio Osmania. While Abad was managing the bicycle business, Josephine was also earning in the place by using it as a study center. This is proved by the advertisement placed in the newspaper El Pueblo in April 1900s, which posted Josephine Bracken, the Abad, Profesora de Lenguas living near Plaza Rizal, is giving lessons in English and German Heiner in residence. Their place was on Magallanes and Burgos streets, just a stone's throw away from Basilica del Santo Niño and the present-day Cebu City Hall. There, Josephine had taught the young Sergio Osmeña Isico, better known as Sergio Osmeña Sr., who later became the fourth president of the Philippines. Osmeña was aid to have learned at least two things in the place: paddling a bike and the English language. Bracken's later experience as an English tutor in Manila and Cebu, and most probably her connection to the national hero and Lorente, made it easier for her to get a more steady occupation as a public school teacher at the recommendation of a certain Dr. David Barrows. The poor condition of her health nonetheless precluded her toward further to seek a cure for her tuberculosis. She returned to Hong Kong once again. So, sa pagpatuloy ng paglala ng sakit ni Josephine, madami ang kinuha nito sa kanyang buhay, ang kanyang family financial resources. She was confined also at the St. Francis Hospital, a Catholic charitable institution in Hong Kong. So yung Mr. Espada, the Victor General of Hong Kong, who visited her in the hospital, tapos sabi niya is nakita na daw pagkakita na daw kay Josephine is, wala nang pag-asa, like nawala na siya ng pag-asa, parang tanggap niya na ang anong kasunod. She had lost all hope, and with it, her faith in humanity, final rest. The eve of March 14, 15, 1902, Bracken restfully died in the land where she was born. Because of the contagion of her ailment, she was immediately buried the next day at the Happy Valley Cemetery, not so far from the grave of her mother. The military section, a small news item on page 4, reported that she died at number 87 Praya East, where she had been rising for some time. Bracken's daughter. So since her mother died when she was about to turn 2, Dolores Bracken did not have vivid memories of Josephine. The tales she knew about her mother were only related to her by Josephine's in-law. Remember that she also had no father to tell her about her mom for himself He himself died a year after Josephine's demise. Dolores married Antonio Mina of Ilocos. Though Dolores was not a fruit of Rizal Josephine's union, this Ilocano could legitimately boast that he married the only sibling of Jose Rizal's son. Josephine's daughter died on December 8, 1987, and was survived by four children. Macario Filada Dolores' grandson wrote the first full biography of Josephine Bracken, Irante Glondrina. Rizal family's dislike of Bracken. It is almost a historical fact that the Rizal family, except for Narcisa, had never liked Jose's dear and happy wife. One may argue that even after the passing of both Jose and Josephine, her memory was not that generously welcome in the Rizal clan. One friend jokingly concluded, in hindsight, that Josephine was a sort of bad omen, and exclaimed, "Malas siya sa buhay ni Rizal." His theory, based on the observation that almost everyone who had become connected to Josephine died young. Her own mother, who died shortly after giving birth to her, her real father, her Portuguese stepmother, Jose Rizal, Mr. Topher, and his second husband, Vicente Abad. So, but this argument, which is an instant of false cause fallacy, is most likely not the reason the Rizal family did not like Bracken. There was an explicit declaration that the Rizals were suspicious that she was a spy for the friars and regarded her as threat to Rizal's security. While staying with Narcisa's family in Binanao, Bracken would frequently leave the house and return after some hours. To find out where she was going, the Rizal sisters asked someone to trail and keep an eye on her. One afternoon, it was discovered that she had gone to the Archbishop's place. Josephine later confessed that she had indeed gone to see the church official to beg for Rizal's freedom. The spy charge against Bracken was never proved, as it was never true. But even then, the Rizal family could not be persuaded to like her. So especially that her union with Jose was not sanctioned by the church. So like, di siya kinasal sa simbahan niya kasi di pinayagan ng pare. The family's antipathy toward her was understandable, as many were indeed scandalized by the couple's live-in relationship. As a result, many distasteful stories about the couple were also passed around by gossips. If you go to Spain, you see anyone of your fancy, you better marry her, but dear, hear me, better marry than to live like we have been doing. I am not ashamed to let people know my life with you, but as your dear sisters are ashamed, I think you had better get married to someone else. Your sister Narcisa and your father, they're very good and kind to me. Rizal's Dulce Estrangera. As a testament of his love for her, Jose Rizal made use of his common law feasible model and inspiration in at least two of his artwork, carving her head and shoulders and a plaster statue of her reclining. When Josefina left the Pitan to accompany Tofer to Manila, Rizal gave her the short poem, Josephine. In Rizal's last and greatest poem, posthumously entitled Mi Ultimo Adios, My Ultimate Goodbye, the recital which reads Adios, dulce extranjera, mi amiga, mi alegría, which is new commonly translated, farewell, sweet foreigner, my darling, my delight, as the line conventionally accepted as Rizal's farewell to his dear and happy wife, with Josephine Bracken, had thus earned the historical moniker Rizal's Dulce Extranjera, sweet foreigner. Josephine, for his part, had also immortalized her affectionate affection for Rizal to her letters, with which she consoled him when he was only to Cuba during his prison days. Some of her letters involved matters like sending him his clothing and the foods he loved, like 100 sweet santos, lanzones, and cheese, but Bracken's letter dated August 13, 1896 stand out as it manifests the purity of her love to our national hero.